Hi, it's Lisa Barry here from Lisa Barry Online. Um, Today, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about my story and how I recognise the power of relationships in business. You see, I started my business working on an online platform called Upwork. In fact, it wasn't a business. I didn't call it a business then. It was just me trying to earn some extra pennies. I'd had my second baby. I'd been made redundant. My husband was the sole provider, and we were struggling financially. We were really struggling. It was hand to mouth sort of time. And emotionally, I remember feeling very trapped by our financial situation, and the pressure all being on my husband to work was really, really hard. And so emotionally and financially, we were in a very difficult place. And all I wanted to do was have a little bit of money that I could say I had earned that myself. That was all. I had no grand plans for big businesses. For the concept of replacing my whole full-time income was completely it was inconceivable at the time. That was not what I started off for. Some of the business people I meet and connect with daily talk to me about they started with these huge grand plans and these huge visions. I just wanted to keep my car on the road and to have a little bit of self-worth. That was genuinely what I started with. And I found this platform called Upwork. In fact, it was called Odesk back then. But the idea of it was that you just put your CV online and you applied for jobs, and I was applying for writing jobs, and I would get it and I would do this writing job and they'd pay me. I thought this was incredible. I was able to sit at home with my babies around me, work on my computer without even having to get dressed. I could have baby sick on me and everything and still get paid. Like, this was phenomenal. And I did it. And my first job was $25 for editing 25 stories that were about 1,000 words each, children's stories. Very, very scarily religious children's stories as well. A little bit like it just felt it wasn't. There was so much wrong with it. It was unreal. But I just thought, wow, somebody's paying me to do something while I'm at home. That was just incredibly revolutionary in itself. So after a while on this, I started getting more, my husband thought I was crazy. Like, literally, he was like, you need to get a proper job. But I couldn't get a proper job. I'd go outside. I got a job, an actual job, and I went and got the interview. And guess what? I had to pay more in childcare and bus fare than I would have done to actually, than I would have actually earned, than I would have actually had in my pocket. I was actually out of pocket by going to one of those jobs. And it was quite not a badly paid job. It was a job in a sector I was well experienced in, but that was the problem with it. So I ended up doing this particular job, this $25 for 25 stories. I was doing it in secret even, because it just caused so much friction between me and him. And it was so stressful, but I knew something in the bottom of my heart. I knew that this was going to lead somewhere, and I didn't know where. And like I say, I had no big vision, but I just knew. So I carried on, and each job I got a little bit more money for. I got my 5-star review, which of course that guy was going to give me 5 stars after me doing what I did. But that gave me a bit more power, to a bit more control in the negotiating, because I'd had a 5-star review. And time went on, and I got reasonable money. I'd say I worked up to about £5 to £10 an hour on Upwork, which at the time I thought, well, I'm still not paying childcare and everything else. But I felt very isolated. I would go to baby groups and nobody was doing what I was doing. They were just with their babies all the time, or maybe they were working part-time somewhere, but they weren't. It's totally different working from home or working from home to being a mum at home, like a stay-at-home mum, or being a working mum. Like the three things, they're entirely different. And I've done all three, and I can tell you they each have their different challenges. But being a work-at-home mum is an entirely different experience, and you need to be connected to other people who are experiencing that, because nobody else quite gets the unique challenges that it brings. So as I went out into this world of being a work-at-home mum, I felt very isolated, because I felt that nobody else was doing what I did and nobody understood what it was like to do it. Now, bearing in mind, I was just on Upwork. I was connected. No, everyone only ever saw my CV. They never actually got to meet me. They never actually got to have a conversation with me, other than the messaging through this system. And it was all very I was a faceless commodity. That's what I had become. And it all changed. Everything changed in November 3 years ago, when I went to a BizMum meeting. And I went to this meeting. It was in a play centre. I had 2 children with me, and it was amazing, because I suddenly realised I wasn't alone. There are tens of these people out there, these mothers working from home with their children, trying to do the best that they can do, trying to juggle everything that they can juggle. I wasn't alone. I then realised that I'd been helping people through all the copy I'd been doing along the way. I realised I'd been helping people to build relationships with their ideal clients and to create connection. And yet I'd been doing nothing of the sort for myself. And it was like a light bulb moment that actually it's the people that make the difference in business. That's what it's all about. And so my business grew from there at a phenomenal rate, partly due to some of the people that I met, partly due to the connections that I made that then directly hired me, or the connections that then they knew people that they knew people. But more than that, so much more than my business growth was my satisfaction in life and what I was doing, and how it felt to be part of something, how it felt to belong. I felt like I belonged again, like that feeling you get in a workplace when you go in and you know where you are, you know what you're doing, you've got your little drawer, you've got your inbox, you've got your chair, you've got all those things, you belong. I now felt in a strange kind of digital way that I belong to this other group of women out there who are making it work on their own terms. And the relationships that I built as a result of that, these people became more than just business associates, they became friends. And no time have I learned that more than this year, when on a personal level I've struggled. I've had some issues, some difficult things as a family that we've had to deal with. And not only has the relationships that I've built with people have meant that at a time when I couldn't show up and market myself personally, because I just had to use my energy in the right way, and I wasn't in the right sort of energetical space to do that. At those times, I had enough work coming through from my current clients and people that would refer other business to me. So things carried on ticking nicely, when obviously when you're self-employed, you can't afford to just let things go. So not only did that happen and work organically flow without me having to put virtually any effort into it, the work just continued to flow. But not just that, if it wasn't for those people reaching out and saying, how are you okay? Genuinely wanting to know how I am because they're my friends, I don't think I would have got through it and still been in business now. I definitely, if I'd have still been on Upwork and in that space where I didn't have those relationships, I'd have just said screw it and got a job in a local shop or anything, just to bring some pennies in. Because when you're self-employed, you are your business, you are the face of your business, everything is on you. And at those times when life is tough, you need people to support you. So I've come sort of to a place now where in my business messages for a long time been about relationships and connections. And I will always talk about how those relationships and connections will help you to make sales and organically build your business in the most beautiful and energetic way that just feels good. But this is the point, is that life is so much richer when we share it with people. And so when you're reaching out, when you're writing copy, when you're creating sales funnels, anything that you're doing within your marketing plan, it isn't just about trying to drum up enough business to get money in the back, to get people to be paying you. So that money comes from other human beings. And so when you make real meaningful connections with those human beings, not only is that flow of money easier, but it just enriches life in a much fuller way, when we can really focus on that relationship as opposed to the money that that person has waiting to spend on us. So that's my story, and that's how I recognize the power of relationships in business and in life. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you can take something from this and go forward in your business with the aim of focusing on the people rather than the pennies. And I will see you all soon.